posted a tweet and it looks like it's gone live. It's hard to tell with this system. Never know when to speak. So I just keep on speaking as usual. Good to see you folks. Start Building Me, daily exercise to form a habit. If you exercise every day, you'll eventually form a habit that will be life-changing. Many people will try to sell you stuff over the course of your training and health career. Elixirs, potions, systems, equipment, surgery, whatever it is, folks. You can do it all here for free in 10, 15, 30 minutes a day, depending on how many people are here and how many questions I have. The beauty is, folks, it's, for now, breathing is free, and if you just continue to get your breath rate up, increase your blood pressure temporarily, and increase your heart rate, let it sink back down. That's the basics of exercise. It really is that simple. And I don't have my watch on today, but what I can show you, you can sort of see it there, is how much sun I've had today. So you can see my Apple Watch right there every time. What happened is I got a little bit carried away, folks, in my keep building me training and my exercise. I like running in the sun, listening to a podcast, listening to a book, whatever it is, just getting outside, getting out amongst nature. It's really the best part of the day. And I try to encourage people to do that. It's that simple. So if you come here, sign up, make sure you sign up. So on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I mainly train on Twitch. I can multi-stream it here. I will change to the multi-stream chat if I get more people coming from YouTube. Obviously, Facebook doesn't allow that integration. That is fine by me, even though probably most people that I know would have access to this on Facebook. But you don't have to do it live. You don't have to be here now. You can check it out later. You can come, like I explained to people, during your office, go outside, stand in a park, hide in the toilet cubicle if you feel ashamed of what you're doing, even though you shouldn't. You should squat at your desk and maintain eye contact with everyone in your office whilst you're doing it. Maybe not that extreme, but nonetheless, you should be comfortable to exercise wherever you want. It's a healthy habit, as I am trying to explain to people. So that's it, basically. So the time that you come here is to help you form the habit. You will eventually grasp the exercises that I'm explaining better. Doing squats for a period of time is a laborious exercise. That's why I like to stick with them here. I used to do a lot of push-ups, but push-ups are slightly more advanced, and the principle that I'm trying to educate people with being consistency and forming the habit, there's nothing easier in the world than teaching somebody to sit down and stand back up effectively. It's one of those things that people do, but they've never actually been taught. Like, think about it. Have you ever been taught to sit down or stand up? Probably not, right? You just figured it out. But that's the problem, is that education improves the process. It improves your efficiency of certain things, of any discipline, right? So what I'm trying to explain to people is that if you're starting into exercise and you've never done it before, you don't have to be a form stickler like, gymnastics coaches or, track and field coaches, where it's a very precise element that they're trying to teach. When you're trying to get somebody to form the habit, ultimately you just want them to spend the time doing the exercise, and you will have progress over time. Now, I would like to add that I am severely sunstroked, folks, which is a big part of Start Building Me that I always explain to people. Stay hydrated. Like I said, I had a phenomenal amount of sun today from washing the dogs, walking the dogs, doing my exercise outside. I'm so red that I was just walking to get some dinner and somebody started running after me with a baster, trying to baste me, thinking I was a suckling pig. That's how much sun I've got. True story, folks. So anyway, let's use our time and get a few squats under the belt, and I'll walk and talk, so to speak. So I prefer a slightly wider stance because my flexibility is pretty bad. I like to look straight ahead. Some people prefer to look up. It's more natural if they've got a barbell, you know, on their back. But we're not doing that. We're just trying to compete against gravity with our own weight, folks. It's something that people have terrible coordination with, and over time of developing this healthy habit, it will improve your coordination on the most essential thing that needs to be coordinated, which is standing up and sitting down under your own weight. That fight against gravity that you'll do every day, unless you don't sleep at all, you know, but generally, or you don't sit either. You want to sit down and you want to stand up. Arms come out as a counterbalance and breathe, folks. The biggest novice error when people are getting into the gym is they don't breathe. So they go to a personal trainer who goes to the gym and they thrash somebody out of their mind until they can barely breathe and they're getting dizzy spells. That's not a good way to form a habit, folks. What I'm trying to do is get you to form the habit to be like, oh, wow, after a few sessions, and it will happen very quickly, folks, you can make a life-changing correction in, like, I'll overestimate 3 months, right? What you could do in a month is extremely noticeable, but I'll say 3 because it's a habit that you want to start to work on. So let's not get ahead or jump the shark or jump the gun. I like jump the gun better because I like guns, but you know, they're not for everyone. So I like to take a wider stance, my feet slightly tilted out, but my toes are lined up on an imaginary line on the ground. The reason being is so you don't twist when you go down like that. The weight goes down to the outside of your feet because you don't want your knees to roll in like that. That's how people bust their knees doing squats, so try not to do that, okay? And really, you're here to compete against yourself and your performance yesterday. No more, no less. And it's a very noble goal. Get that ingrained into your brain, ingrained in the brain. It's important to, you know, readjust it, or the neuroplasticity in your brain as to what the purpose of training in. It's not about looks. It's not about sport, even though it does aid sport. It's really about your brain, folks. And it's like anything. You've got to run at a certain frequency for your brain to stay stable, and that's what we're trying to do. Insane in the membrane, exactly. I was just explaining to people, Jazz, I'm a little bit sunstroke today. Somebody was chasing me down the shopping centre trying to baste me because they thought I was a suckling pig. And, you know, I might be saying some stuff slightly more radical than normal, which is saying something, as you know. I've got you know, don't get me started on the lizard people. But until then, let's just bust a few squats out. Without further ado, folks. Oh my goodness, I'm red. I went up and bought aloe vera juice, bottles of it, chucked it in the fridge. I was gonna like, should I have a bath in it? But I'm not. I'm just wiping it all over myself. We've got an aloe vera plant outside as well, so I'm gonna have a crack at that as well. Now, I hope you can hear me fine. I just had some sound issues initially, but yeah. It's not bad. It's not painful. The only painful thing is when you're in like light like this, it looks pretty extreme, and I'm walking around Chemist Warehouse with bottles of aloe vera juice. I'm not fooling anyone. Sound is fine. That's all we need to know. So let's bust out a few squats. And that's all we're trying to do, folks, is get the blood pumping through your body. You've been sitting down all day. Sedentary lifestyle and overconsumption is what costs the healthcare system the most money. Now, like I said, I used to say, oh, people are just lazy. And I think a lot of people are lazy, don't get me wrong. But as I said, most people are just ignorant that this is an essential part of life, right? And people get offended by being called ignorant. Like, I'm ignorant of many things, right? Everybody is ignorant of many things. All it means is a complete lack of conceptual understanding of what you're doing, folks. And the reason we exercise is because it has been studied over hundreds of thousands of people over decades that weight training and cardiovascular exercise intensity of medium intensity, 35 minutes a day, is what our brain needs, right? So think about how many mental health crises we're facing in every single country across the world, where I believe exercise is the panacea to combating it, at least as a part of your therapy, a part of your treatment, is something that you can't turn your back on. You might want to sit in front of the TV and do nothing. And it's just not going to help your situation, folks. Take it from me. I've grown up with mental health issues my entire life. And this is why I do it, because it works, right? Nothing else works. No elixirs, no prescription drugs, no diets, no gimmicks, nothing. Just exercise, folks. Your resting heart rate is getting higher to 120 to 140, ideally, is what we're working at here. Just think of a big pump is what we're trying to achieve. If you want to keep your back straighter, stand wider, and then you'll be able to keep that back straighter. Keep the weight going to the outside of your feet, folks. I can never stress that enough. People bust up their knees running. They bust up their knees doing squats and doing weight training because they don't understand the mechanics of our feet, right? As I explained it to a mate who conceptually pictured it better after explaining, it's like a cat. Think about how a cat walks. A cat's leg looks a lot like our foot if you think of a cat's leg, its hind legs. And they're walking on the pads of their feet. Why do you think cats can fall off 9-story buildings and survive, folks? It's because we've got a shock absorption system that virtually nobody takes into consideration when they're walking. And if they do, people look at you like, oh, la-di-da, fancy boy on the Milan catwalk. You know, it's just like people judge you for being right. It's hilarious, right? It's like what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to twist with our hips, keeping our head down more than normal, landing on the pad. Well, you can't really see it on the black. Still got to get a black mat. Anyway, actually, I might not get a black mat so you can see the definition a bit better. Maybe a nice, it can't be blue, maybe a yellow rug. We'll see. I'll think about it later. Anyway, what you're supposed to be doing when you walk is you take a step, follow through with your hip, land just behind your big toe, right on the pad that's just there, which is basically where we're supposed to be walking. Most people heel strike, bad for your knees again, right? So you're swinging, you're rotating your hips effectively and landing on the pad of your feet. So if it's not something you want to, like me, you want to walk around downtown like this with your dogs and you don't absolutely give a living toss, I will say, it's not exactly a swear word, about what people think about you and you want to improve your gait and you want to improve your technique, think of that. And the way you practice it, as I always say, is walking backwards, folks. Because you can't heel strike when you're walking backwards. So it's a quick hack to see what you should be doing to walk, right? And then when you do it forwards, it should be exactly the same. Now, the last thing that leaves the ground is your big toe again, right? So you're landing just behind it, and then you're walking away and off that big toe. And a lot of reason why people get hammer toe and bunions, and I mean I do as well for living in a boxing boot for a big part of my youth, you've actually got to grip the ground with your toes. You've got to strengthen your toe muscles even. So that's something for another video. All we're trying to do to anybody that's watching is get your heart rate up for 15, 30 minutes, then go and watch Andor, go and watch House of Dragons. I've been watching both of them. Not a huge fan, to be honest. Andor's alright. The first episode was awesome. House of Dragons started strong and I'm already losing interest. But American Gigolo, check it out. If you like sort of thrillers, dramas, I'm a big fan of John Barenthal or whoever, I've forgotten his name, but he's a brilliant actor. He played the Punisher on the Netflix series, which is the best adaptation of the Punisher I've ever seen. Anyway, I'll keep on doing squats and so will you, because once we're done this 15 minutes, you can go off your merry way, pat yourself on the back. You've done 5 squats, 2 squats, 20 squats, whatever you've done in the time that you've been here. That's more exercise than you would have done without it. And that's what we're trying to do, folks. Form a habit. Nothing more, nothing less. I want people to realize that if you just come and do exercise, for 15 minutes, stay here for 5, stay here for whatever, but Twitch is logging the time that participants have that subscribe, and I will hand out prizes to people who come, because this is a proof of concept. And I guarantee you that the more you come, the more you will get a coordination down, which makes you be able to sit deeper into a squat. You'll have your stronger butt muscles, stronger back muscles, stronger legs, bigger legs. And you know, that's something really that you should be able to do all day, every day, right? Like I can do it now whilst I'm talking. I can just get into that rhythm. And folks, it's one of the best exercises you can do. If you do this exercise, your cardiovascular strength is going to get better. Your strength is going to get better. Mate, you got to watch it. It's a brilliant show. I really like the actors in Andor though. House of Dragon, like I said, it started off awesome. Haven't really gripped to the cast. I like the bodyguard dude, he's sort of cool. That's about it, but I'll keep on watching it. It's good fighter whilst I'm trading. Got big things for this last quarter, folks. Hopefully not continued crab action from BTC, USD. Again, follow me if you want crypto tips. My crypto tips are guaranteed because I don't get into much shitcoinery, folks. That's where they sting you. That's where you get nailed. You want to play the casino, mates? You want to go to the shitcoin roulette, as they call it? If you're not actively trading, i.e. sitting in front of your terminal for the time that you're in the market, you can get seriously stung. I didn't lose a cent in that whole Luna debacle. I would never have bought that in a million years. The dude, Duquan, was just a ridiculous human being and his project sucked. So many projects you can get burned on, folks. Like Doge, sure, you could have made money on Doge, but it was pretty obviously going to come back down. And when you've got, doesn't matter if you've got billionaires and Wall Street people telling you it's a good project to get, they're just going to dump on you, folks. That's how they got rich. As Bill Gates says in The Simpsons, I didn't get rich by signing checks, right? So without further ado, let's try and do 10 more. 3. I'll stand wider to keep my back straight. I'll try and be a form stickler on myself. 1. That was terrible. That didn't look good at all. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What am I doing tonight? It's good to play some Counter-Strike on, when was it, Friday or Saturday? Can't remember. But I want to get into a habit of doing maybe 2 rounds of that a week. Lots of Start Building Me, lots of Townsville. I'm making dog collars at the moment for Townsville. I will take photos and put them up on the Instagram when my dogs are modeling them for me. See, I'm not going to be the only person fancy walking around the house. My dogs will be too. It's very gender fluid household, folks. See, I can offer stuff to Generation Z, folks. Very gender fluid. Sometimes I like making garments out of leather, like Buffalo Bill and sometimes I like training and stuff. Yes, perfect. Up for that the weekend. Perfect. Good to hear, man. So we're in the 20th minute. I'm going to go another 10 minutes because I'm just excited that I'm going to have a bath in aloe vera juice and try and stop looking like a prize pig. Man, as I always explain to people, doing this outside, doing exercise outside, my favorite exercise of all being walking, folks, something that the vast majority of the population can do. And if you can't, man, I really feel sorry for you, because that must suck, because it's such an easy, meditative, enjoyable thing to do. But I'm guessing even if you were disabled and you were in a wheelchair, it's still that sensation of the smell, and getting out in the sun does a lot for you. So I hope you got the capacity to do that, at least sit on a balcony or something, anything like that, folks. Getting outside is essential. So I'm going to try and form stickler myself again. Toes lined up on my mat. Slightly, what would that be? Negative cambered, or toed, sorry. Positive toe? I'm trying to think of terminology. Where's Dr. Sedgman when you need him? Sorry, I had a kebab, so I'm slightly gaseous. Anyway, arms are coming out. You can grab your wrists like that as well, is a good one to do. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, you don't have to go for broke like I was doing. Just do one and chill. Listen to my extraordinarily soothing and non-annoying Australian accent and do another one. That was a terrible breath, but anyway, in. That's what it's supposed to be, like a bellows, the example that I always give to really show how old I am, or how learned I am, as I like to think of it. A bellows was something that they used to use blacksmiths. So before they would start hammering the hell out of whatever they were forging on the anvil, they would stoke the fire to really, really get it as hot, white hot as possible to get that steel as hot as they possibly could, right? And it's a pump as well. It's an air pump. And look, we are as well, right? We're a glorified set of filters. We're a glorified air pump, right? And so what we're trying to do is suck the air in and don't suck the air out. That would be kind of difficult. Suck the air in and blow it out. See, you've already got more value than a Harley Davidson motorcycle whose design was based off an air pump, I believe. Anyway, do a set of 3. Walk around on the spot, walk backwards, really think of what you're doing there, landing on the pad behind your toes and not landing with a heel strike. If you're landing with a heel strike, it's only a matter of time before you get problems with your knees, folks. And it's one thing that I've always dodged. I had a meniscal tear that healed on its own from just rehabilitating it, didn't need surgery. And since then I've taken everything a lot more seriously, because now in my middle age, I am seeing a lot of people who are my age who have ridiculous injuries. And I was pretty reckless in how I trained, you know, from everything from combat sports to motocross, rock climbing, surfing, base jumping, skydiving. I've done a lot of stuff that injuries or death are very common in, and I survived. That's why I'm coming here to explain to people that even if you're going to go hard, that's cool. But if you're going to go hard, there are some things that you can learn along the way that I can teach you to improve your longevity. You might think, oh, I'm going to Janis Joplin or I'm going to Kurt Cobain, I'll be dead by I'm 30. As my old man told me once, only the good die young. So like me, you're all going to probably live to 100 years. So if you're going to live that long, you want to make sure everything still works. Because, mate, life sucks if you're injured. Life sucks if you get a disability that stops you doing the really simple things in life that you get such a good deal of pleasure out of. So do a few more squats. Walk and talk. 2, 3, 4, 5. Feel the blood pumping around your body. Heart rate goes up. Blood pressure goes up. You'll perspire. You won't glow like I do. They'll do seismic, what is it? The Geiger scanner? What's the nuclear thing? They'll come to my house with one of those thinking they've found a fission fuel supply in the house. I'm joking, it's not that bad. Somebody's coming to the door. Sergeant Keith's on the case. Better not come in. Doesn't take kindly to strangers. Not his cup of tea. Keith being my half red heeler, half American Staffordshire Terrier, who's 50% of either dog, but 100% crazy. And hey, as they say, it always reflects the owners, so they don't call me Crazy Dave ironically. Crazy Dave being one of my many nicknames, one of my factual nicknames, because I am certifiably insane. But I'm not a big fan of categorizations or labels, and most therapists agree with me on that one. Dale will hop into bed with anyone. He's a total turncoat. He just, you know, he's still a lot more puppy than Keith, but he'll just, you know, roll up to anyone who's going to give him a pat. And even better, if somebody's going to give him food, it's all over. You'll be gone. You'll just hear the door shut and you'll be waving goodbye in the car with some stranger. Good on you, Dale. Hope they give you more roast meat than I do. Big pig. It's like your spouse is like thinks that you're having an affair with Dale. Like, I just went up the road and stuffed a kebab into my mouth because I hadn't eaten anything all day and felt dizzy. And then I came back and Dale greets you at the door, all smiles, and then just comes straight up to your face and goes. It's like, where have you been? It's like, oh. No time for questions. This interview's over. I've got to train startbuilding.me. It had raw onions on it anyway. You couldn't digest that. Now, folks, my blood's pumping, and it's active recovery for me, which is really good. I had a massive run, went and sat in my ice bath, almost got a, what's it called when you get too cold? Hypothermia. And jumped out of that, felt pretty chilly. But right now, I feel my legs were tightening up, my knees are a little bit sore, bit of active recovery. It's even though your knees are joint and bones, you've got ligaments and tendons around them, everything still needs a blood supply, folks. So active recovery is supposed to be as good, if not better, than cryotherapy and ice bathing, but when I jump in that freezer, I put a snorkel in and keep my head under like I'm in the freezing womb of death and breathe slowly. I come out calm as a Hindu cow. So it is a very, very cool thing to do. But nonetheless, if you don't have a 500 litre chest esky freezer that you can hop into that has 8 kilos of Epsom salt, magnesium sulfate in it, then the next best thing is active recovery. So I'll always tell you the best option, but this is the free option, folks. So if you do active recovery, if you're feeling sore, if you're feeling stiff and you can barely walk, you're like a tin man, and you force yourself to do some exercises, folks, you'll get that blood pumping and you'll be good to go. Simple, simple, simple stuff, folks. Simple, simple, simple. It's really, really easy. It's really, really, really beneficial to do this stuff, and you'll feel good doing it. You know, I have worked out now with so many people all around the world who are both athletes, and competitive sports people, down to people who have had cerebral palsy and, are partially disabled, to get them into on a habit on doing this stuff. They shoot me messages on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Some people don't want to post a question because they're embarrassed about it. So send it behind closed doors in the encrypted channels of the internet. I'm happy to help people with questions, especially if they're going to do this stuff, because, folks, exercise and health are so revered because you can't cheat it, you cannot buy it, you cannot hustle it in any other way. You can buy products all you want and fill your house with exercise equipment. It's not going to improve your health. This is what is involved to improve your health. This is the only thing that will improve your health. And it's so simple, folks. It's so simple. So you see this thing pop up and you'll be like, I don't want to go and train. I think that way. I was just like, I want to eat this kebab and watch TV. And then you come here and you're like, this was so much better than watching some garbage show that I'm going to whinge about, like Andor and House of Dragons. I'm going to go all out and say that they're garbage. I'm going to keep on watching them anyway, but on one of my screens, it's just the thanks for coming view, where it's only if something's good. Yeah, but there's Champions League soccer on at the moment, folks. I'm not going to be getting out of bed for anything else but Champions League football. This morning's game was actually brilliant. Chelsea beat AC Milan 3-0. Absolutely awesome. Did I have money on them? Of course I did, folks. Chelsea and Arsenal are my two teams in the Premier League. And anybody but Italian clubs, ABI. ABAC, anybody but AC Milan. They're crooked, as the name suggests that they are. Do a bit of a stretch. Now, I've nailed my back playing golf, folks. Those golf players are a lot more serious than I ever gave credit for. They have got some chops. I've really tweaked my back, so I'm going to have to learn to be one with the ball. Shift forward, shift back, shift forward. And I'm just the Tin Man swinging a stick like a hacking robot and getting some pathetic speeds off the tee, but at least it's quite straight. We're about 30 minutes, folks. I've got my blood pumping up. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I'm going to go chill out, hang out with my dogs, give them a bit of a shake up, you know. Mr. Simpson, stop that. Rattle some cages. Actually, should probably have a shower. Anyway, love Jazz. Love anyone else who's there hiding and lurking. Subscribe. Keep on coming back. It's free. I love doing it. I love answering questions. I love to present this to the world who has given everyone so much and me so little, to quote Dave Chappelle. Just joking, folks. I've had a very easy life. Take it easy. See you tomorrow. Have a good night.